Alright, UFC 203 Brazil, Teixeira vs Hill. First pay-per-view in the year at UNSC Arena, Rio de Janeiro. I'm going to go through the card from the early prelims to main event. I would also like to note, I think majority, if not all Brazilians are going to win their fights here. It is hot. In the weigh-in show, and I noticed a few things about people complaining that it's really hot and humid and people are sweating. And I don't think anyone that flew over has had enough time to acclimatize to the weather, especially any Americans that came over as it is winter over there. Early prelims. Simon Oliveira, $1.62 versus Daniel Marcos, $2.31. Simon Oliveira, 18-4, says his style is Muay Thai, most wins by submission. Hasn't finished anyone in the UFC. He looked like he had a terrible weight cut on the show, by the way. Daniel Marcos, undefeated Peruvian fighter at 13-0, most wins by KO. Good fight in the Contender Series, was extremely aggressive, dropped his opponent once, maybe I think twice, looks for the finish and has a great gas tank. Seems to be a better stand-up fighter and has great takedown defense. I put my money on Daniel Marcos to win by TKO on points if you want props. I wouldn't put big money on it, however. Next we have Josianne Nunes, $1.16 versus Zara Santos, $5.30. Josianne Nunes, Brazilian Sheila, 9-1, 7 wins by KO. Was meant to fight Zara Santos last year, but Santos missed weight, she was too heavy. Nunes has no relation to Amanda Nunes, but is a pocket rocket, and when she senses blood, she'll flip a switch and empty the gas tank to finish. Zara Santos, French Sheila, 6-4 with 4 KOs. Got finished in her last 2 fights. She's a kickboxer, has poor ground game. I think she'll find the weight cut hard being 5'10". I'm going with Josianne Nunes. She gets it done by TKO/sub in the round 1 or 2. Next we have Warley Alves, $1.80 versus Nicholas Darby, $2.05. I don't know if I ever want to pick this fight. It's a 50-50 fight for me, to be honest. Warley Alves, 14-5, well-rounded, 4 wins by KO, 6 by sub, inconsistent in his last 5 fights, was KO'd 2 years ago by Jeremiah Wells, who is no joke. Nicholas Darby is 20-4, with most of his wins coming by decision. Hasn't finished anyone since 2019, so that's 4 years. This is a 50-50 fight, like I just said. I don't recommend betting on any fighter. However, I think the fight will go to decision. If I were to pick, I'll just go Darby. Don't hold me to it. This fight's going to be a cracker fight. Ismael Bonfim, $2.10 versus Terence McKinney, $1.77. Ismael Bonfim, 27-year-old Brazilian man, 18-3, well-rounded in his record on a 12-fight win streak. Hasn't been able to finish anyone since 2020, however. That's one thing to note. His younger brother is said to be the better fighter. He's also fighting on this card, so there's a lot of pressure on the older brother to get it done. However, he's up against Terence T-Rex McKinney, who's an American man, 28 years old, 13-4 with no fights going to decision. In fact, he's only been past the first round twice in his career. The fight, in my belief, is going to end very quick. Best bet of the night is either fighter to win by TKO or sub, and if you don't like that, I'm going with Terence McKinney to win by TKO and sub. Lacerda, $4.10 versus Cody Stayman, $1.24. I think the odds should be much closer than that. Luan Lacerda, 30-year-old Brazilian man, 12-1, 10 wins coming by submission. He's had some decent competition despite not having any KOs. He doesn't stand up and great takedown defense. His opponent, Cody Stayman, is a heavy favourite. He's 20-5, has fought extremely good competition such as Nurmagomedov, Rabdashvili, Aljamain Sterling. Despite having this resume, he's lost all these fights. Despite being the heavy favourite, I'm actually going with the crowd favourite and the heavy underdog, Luan Lacerda. Bigger odds, Luan Lacerda by TKO or sub. Next fight I can't wait for. Jamil Abdurrahmov, $7 versus Jailton Almeida, $1.10. Jamil is a 41-year-old man from Dagestan, 20-7. Last 3 fights he was KO'd by great competition. He's got power with 9 KOs to his name, but I believe this is the end of the road for Jamil. He's being fed to Jailton Almeida, 31-year-old man from Brazil. His record is 17-2, most wins by submission, has amazing takedown offense, being overwhelming in the stand-up. He's young, in his prime, and I reckon if he wins his next 3 or 4 fights, he'll make his way into the top 5 and into title contention. I'd like to see more stand-up, however, and I believe he's going to showcase that during this fight. Jailton has got to win by TKO or sub. If you want more value, I think most likely in the second or first round. Next fight, very hard fight to bet on. Gabriel Bonfim, $1.54 versus Munir-Lazzez, $2.48. Fim, undefeated, 13-0. He's finished all of his opponents with 10 subs and 3 KOs. Very impressive victory on the Contender Series. He's got a decent calculated stand-up and pressures opponents. However, this is the ultimate test for him as he's going up against a very, very good opponent in Munir-Lazzez, 35-year-old man from Tunisia. 11-2 with 8 wins coming by KO. He's had better competition. He's been in the UFC for 3 years now, only fighting once a year, whereas Bonfim has been more active on the side with 2 fights last year. This is a very hard fight to pick. I'm going with the hometown favourite, Gabriel Bonfim, but if you want the safe bet, I would go with the fight not to go to distance. But I hope Bonfim will win by submission. We have Thiago Moises versus Costa. Look, I'm going to go with Moises. Has better competition. Has versed Islam Makhachev. Was the only person to get, I think, Islam Makhachev to the floor. Has defeated Bobby Green. Last fight came by submission, rear naked choke. I'm going with Moises without too much of a thought about it. I think I have the potential fight of the night. Bruno Ferreira, $3.75 as Gregory Robocop Rodrigues, $1.30. I think the odds should be a bit much closer than this. I think they got it very wrong. Much closer, like $1.70 to Gregory Robocop and $2.30 for Bruno Ferreira. But look, it's Brazilian versus Brazilian. Bruno Ferreira, however, has taken this fight on very short notice. He's the Hulk. He literally built like the Hulk. He's jacked 9-0. He's finished all of his opponents. Had an impressive win in the Contender Series against a good opponent. A good takedown offense, and will likely look for it against his opponent, my dude, Gregory Robocop Obama Rodrigues. I love this guy. He's 6'3", 30-year-old man. 4 of his last 5 fights. In his last fight against Chido Njokuani, he got cut so bad with the knee in the first round in the space between his eyebrows where an artery was exposed. You can Google it. He had KOing Cheating in the second round. The cut man was the goat of the night. He ended up 20 stitches and a 50k bonus. Anyway, this is a hard fight to bet on. I'm going with my heart. I'm going with Robocop Obama Rodrigues to win. I would hedge Bruno to finish Robocop as well. I'm a little bit suspect on that cut on Robocop's head because he did get cut in September, and I'm not sure if it's had enough time for it to actually heal up, but Bruno's smart, he'll be aiming for that. Right, Mauricio Shogun Rua, $2.78 versus Ihor Peteria, $1.45. This will likely be Shogun's last fight in the UFC. I won't go into this too much, but I recommend not to bet on this fight and just enjoy Shogun's performance. Hopefully he can pull it off in his home country. He's a legend, if not one of the greatest light heavyweights from Brazil. But yeah, don't bet on it. Main event, Paul Craig, $2.62 versus Johnny Walker, $1.50. Paul Craig, the comeback king, he's 16-5. He's finished all of his opponents, bragging a resume of 13 submissions. He's also finished Jamal Hill in 2021 by TKO, but he's no joke and he lives on the floor. His opponent is Johnny Walker, who is 19-7. With 15 wins coming by KO, he was brutally KO'd by Jamal Hill and turned it around by getting a submission victory against Kutalaba later that year. Walker is known to have a glass jaw, however, Paul Craig doesn't have the stand-up to hang with Walker, and Walker can't hang with Craig on the ground. Someone's getting finished in this fight. The best bet would either by KO or sub. I believe with Walker being in his hometown and having bragging rights of being the most athletic fighter in the UFC PI, I think he gets the win here. Next is the fight in the women's division. Laura Murphy, $4.95 versus Jessica Andrade, $1.18. Look, I think Jessica Andrade finishes Laura Murphy. This is the end for Laura Murphy. Jessica Andrade fights like a man, punches like a man, looks like a man. She's going to win. Next, we probably have the potential fight of the night. Gilbert Burns, $1.20 versus Neil Magny, $4.20. Gilbert Burns, arguably one of the best fighters in the welterweight division, coming off an amazing performance against Khamzat Chimaev, able to match punch for punch and go to war. He's no joke. He's loved by the UFC. He reported that making weight was easy, only needing to cut 3 pounds in the morning. His opponent is the Haitian sensation Neil Magny, who is 27-9 and boasts a 9-inch reach advantage on Burns. Magny is an OG, but he's primarily a decision fighter with high IQ. I'm confident Burns gets it done, especially in his hometown. He's probably going to try to find a way inside in the earlier part of the fight and explode with his power and finishes Magny. The longer the fight goes, it favours Burns due to the humidity and heat. Burns gets it done, sub or TKO. Next, the co-main event, Davison Figueiredo, $2.07 versus Brandon Moreno, $1.79, the quadrilogy. Everybody knows this fight as well. If you don't, then you're a flaming idiot. The fan favorite is Moreno, but I'm going with the villain in Figueiredo. He gets it done. I believe this fight will probably go to decision, or I'll put money on Figueiredo actually finishing Moreno this time. Just put a nail in the coffin and all the rivalry. And finally, we have the main event, Glover Figueiredo, $2.08 versus Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill? Looks like Jamal Hill to me, not Jamal. Anyway, Glover Figueiredo, 43-year-old man from Brazil, has been fighting professionally in MMA since 2002, before some of you were born. Wealth of experience and has seen every style of fighting in the book. He's 33 in age with 18 KOs, 10 submissions. He's fought Rampage Jackson, John Jones, Rashad Evans, Anthony Johnson. In the most recent fight, he got subbed by Yuri Prohaska. He was actually winning the fight and almost finished Yuri, but he went for a silly guillotine instead of raining down punches when Yuri got rocked in the last round. I had money on Yuri's sub, believe it or not. He's training with Alex Pereira, the middleweight champion, so you can imagine his stand-up has improved much more compared to last time. He's one of the most lovable guys in the UFC and will have a hometown advantage in the octagon come fight night. Jamal Hill, I'm going to call him Jamal, 31-year-old American man from Michigan, 11-1 with decent wins against decent competition. He hurt everyone he's faced in the UFC except for one guy. Jamal Hill does have excellent technique, throws straight, quick punches that are calculated. He has been training hard, but I don't think he has enough preparation for Glover's takedown offense. He did well against Thiago Santos, but Thiago Santos is nowhere near the grappler as Glover. Experts are saying the longer this stays standing, it favors Hill. I disagree. Glover has excellent stand-up, and let me remind you, he's been training with Alex Pereira, probably the most dangerous man in the UFC on his feet. Despite being Glover the underdog, likely because of his age, I'm going with Glover, the former champ. He's the smarter fighter, has more weapons at his disposal to showcase compared to Hill, and he's got a chin of granite. Also don't think Hill will be able to deal with the heat of Brazil. He hasn't had enough time to acclimatize to Brazil's weather. Watch this video, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. 7 from 11 in the fights in last week's card, as well as a safe and medium multi cashing in. A ton of research and watch many insight videos and look at weight cuts and how people are preparing to make the best decisions of where I put my money to win at the end of the day. Please only bet what you're willing to lose. When you win money, use the money to buy yourself something nice before you gamble it again and lose profit. I will put my multis below like last week, and good luck.